You may have heard that you can germinate seeds in a Ziploc bag. So I tried it with elephant grass. Never mind that buckwheat seed off to the left. I put the world's tallest grass, elephant grass seeds, into a Ziploc bag with a wet paper towel and a breath of air for carbon dioxide, which helps it germinate. This is what it looked like after only 3 days in the bag. You can see a shoot starting there off the seed, but I made a mistake. I pointed the shoot down like it was a root instead of pointing it up, which means that it took 4 days before I saw it emerge above the dirt. It self-corrected under the dirt. It will turn back around and go up while the roots will grow down. Not a problem. It just delayed my results, but it was super exciting to see this pop up. A quick search tells me that elephant grass can get typically between 8 and 15 feet tall, but under optimal conditions, up to 26 feet tall. So I'm going to see how tall it gets in my yard. If you wait too long to pull your sprouts out of the paper towel, they'll actually grow into it, which they did in this case. So I might only give it 2 days in the bag next time, because I was worried I might break the shoots off the seeds while pulling them out. Notice I'm labeling the bag after I put the seeds in, but I think it's better if you do the labeling first. I want to see what they look like after 4 more days. There they are. I've planted and started several other things around the yard and in the house, so let's take a tour. These are the seeds you saw in the bag at the beginning of the video, containing cabbage, green onion, pepper, eggplant, and tomato. And after a few days, you can see the green onion has sprouted the most. But you know what? I did not learn about breathing into a bag for carbon dioxide when I did this bag, so they might have turned out better if they had carbon dioxide. Now, here's how I dipped the paper towel for the elephant grass seeds that turned out so great. Now, I tried several different kinds of seeds. In fact, you see that buckwheat seed on the top there by itself. I did a batch of buckwheat, and when I bought the buckwheat, I didn't realize I also had a whole bunch of buckwheat in a mix of ground cover crop seeds. There's 13 different seeds in there. Now, I might not have realized which one was buckwheat if I didn't order buckwheat separate, but now I know. Buckwheat is that big black seed. So that's cool. And oh yeah, here's what the elephant grass seed looked like when I pulled it out of the bag and unfolded the paper towel while it was still stuck in the paper towel. Now, what am I going to do with elephant grass? I'm obviously not going to plant my whole lawn with it, but I thought it might be a good shade for the rest of the grass. Maybe not as a solid row, but a couple of tufts along the southern edge of the lawn might help preserve moisture. And what I'm doing with the cover crops is to shade the soil, but also crowd out weeds and add biomass to prepare the soil for crops later in the season or next year. Now, you're not going to start them in Ziploc bags like this. I just wanted to see how well they'd grow in a bag, and so I rolled a bunch up into a wad. On the right, you could see, and it was a big mess, but they sprouted great. And I decided not to tear them out of the paper towel, but just try to incorporate the dirt around the paper towel to give the sprouts room to grow and see how well they did. And they actually are taking on pretty well after a few days. I may throw these outside later on, but I directly sowed the cover crops also outside, and these ones I'll just maybe put in a patch somewhere just as a test. But regularly, you just want to spread your cover crops right in the soil. You don't need to start them indoors. Tomatoes, onions, cabbage, and celery, basil, that's what I'm starting indoors. I don't know what to do with all these sprouts. I don't want to have to plant each and every one individually in the dirt, so I'm just crowding them in here. Let's give them a chance to grow and see what happens. I'm really excited to get outside and see what's going on there. Here's a row of peas. I planted 2 rows of peas, and two different kinds. Actually, one wasn't labeled, so there's one mystery pea and another pea. And they will have trellises later on. These are tomatoes. I'm trying this method I saw online where you plant the seeds outside but protect them with greenhouse-like jugs. This gives them a chance to grow naturally with all the light and water they need from the rain without having to maintain them as much. And you can see greens from last year popping up. In the dirt, I planted some skirret, medieval plants. And this is a garden patch with oryx, and that's chives from last year. And these are going to be the seeds you saw at the beginning of the video, the cover crops and elephant grass. And this will be green and red cabbage.